We have permitted 82 facilities.
82?
82. And
meaning what? Kind of everything?
Everything from manufacturing, cultivation, a lab.
My name is Jack Maxwell. I once had a job as the booze explorer. Here we go. But then I got sucker punched by cancer. I then started a whole new journey.
Oh my God, is that good?
The culture of cannabis. I have cancer. It doesn't have me. Come on, up on the magic bus with me, and let's hit the high road.
Come along with me on this high road.
I'm headed for Las Vegas, and I only made it out to Needles. I had to see what all the buzz was about in this California town of 5,000 people near the confluence of Arizona and Nevada. It's run by a progressive-thinking mayor who was an ex-cop, by the way. At one time, you're Johnny Law,
Right.
deputy sheriff.
Yes.
How do you go from that to mayor, and what's that like?
California's changed their rules, and I had to get educated. It took me a while, but I worked on it.
Needles was at one point almost a ghost town, but it welcomed the cannabis industry with open arms. And now, it's an economic player. Why did they pick Needles of all places? Nothing against Needles, it just seems a little random at first.
Instead of it being personnel that's a major money draw on this industry, it's electricity.
You see, it takes a lot of power to grow cannabis indoors. And Needles, well, they have their own power grid. While other municipalities charge 25 to 35 cents per kilowatt, Needles charges only a fraction of that.
Our electric rates are fantastic. They're between 6 and 11 cents a kilowatt. We have permitted 82 facilities.
82?
82. And
meaning what? Kind of everything?
Everything from manufacturing, cultivation, a lab. 758,000 square foot of buildings are going up.
How many jobs does that translate to?
Over 500.
500 jobs. You could be governor. Okay, so basically build it and they will come. I get it. But what I really want to see is how much cannabis you can grow in 750,000 square feet.
This is a 40,000 square foot facility, and we're gonna go in and we're gonna suit up.
This is Courtney Dorn.
You look wonderful.
Thanks.
What a fashion statement this is.
Thanks.
She's an exec at one cannabis company that took a big chance on Needles.
A lot of companies that are out there are pulling flower from different farmers and fields and strains.
The phrase seed to sale is big in the industry.
We're actually a brands company, and in order to control the supply chain of our brands, it's really important to control the entire process.
Control every aspect of it, from soup to nuts,
Correct.
beginning to end.
Well, we're gonna go smell some amazing flower right now.
Oh, what is that? Oh, wow, is that strong? Holy moly.
Doesn't that sound good? We've brought some strains with us through the years, but we really have a process where we're creating our own proprietary strains.
So let's say a celebrity comes to you and they say, I want to have my own brand of cannabis, and they can list all the things that they want, and you can make it just like that. Like creating your own perfume or something, right?
Well, yes, we can.
All that.
I'm impressed.
Double or nothing? Oh, better than me! I'm embarrassed. Let's go have lunch before you beat me at something else.
Take a ride with me on this high road.
Hi, I'm Jack Maxwell. The high road continues. You just saw the mayor of Needles explain what cannabis has done to revitalize economically his town of Needles. Well, he stays with us, and we're going to get a little deeper into that. Hello, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, we have to get some formalities out of the way. You were so nice and down to earth. I don't know if I addressed you properly when we met. Is it Mr. Mayor, Mayor Jeff Williams, His Honor? What do I call you, sir?
Call me Jeff. Just don't call me late to dinner. Dinner. Jeff's good.
I see you're a comedian on the side. Well, that's very nice. Thank you, sir. I don't know that I could call you Jeff the way I was raised. You know, I forgot to ask you something when we were there, and thank you for joining me. Where does the name Needles come from, anyway?
About 12 miles from us here, towards the Colorado River, which is east. The Needle Mountains are out there, and when the railroad first picked this spot to stop their trains, they decided to call it Needles because of the Needles Mountains. When the city actually started to develop and they wanted to switch out their railroad cars, they needed flatter land, so they came up about 12 miles and built the city of Needles.
So wait a minute, you're not the original Needles?
or the original needles. We just moved.
That's like the New Orleans Jazz moving to Utah, still calling themselves the Jazz. That's not right. There's no Jazz in Utah. How did you become mayor?
Oh, let's see. Well, in 2000, I had been retired and teaching at the high school for a while. And I just decided to run for city council in 2000. So April of 2000, I got elected city council. 2006, I got elected as mayor. 2006, 2010, I was mayor. I took 4 years off after 2010. They got reelected. I did city council for 4 years, and I've been on as mayor now for another 2.
Wow, you've been in the mix quite a while.
Yeah.
Everything.
Longer than anybody else on the council right now.
You've done it all. So what draws you? What's so special? What draws you to Needles? I know you love it there, obviously.
Yeah, it's a nice town. It's a great town to bring a family up in. And what happens, I was born in Kalinga, California, and then we moved to Oklahoma, and we happened to live through a blizzard back there in about 1970. And my dad said enough of that. And in 2nd grade, he moved me out here to the city of Needles, California. So we went from snow to 120 degrees in the summertime. So that's, I don't know how else we ended up here. He didn't want any more snow. And by God, he found out we don't have no snow in Needles. Between Bullhead, Death Valley, and us, we're the hottest in the nation.
Now, you must take advantage of that. You must sell T-shirts or something with thermometers on them or something, right?
Oh, yeah. They have a restaurant here called the Wagon Wheel, and they have T-shirts for the city of Needles that say, but it's a dry heat.
Yeah.
Skeleton laying against a cactus. So, yeah, you get the idea.
And I think James Caan said once in a movie, I think it was Honeymoon in Vegas, he said, yeah, and it's a dry stroke you'll be having too, as your head hits the curb. So I've been to the Wagon Wheel. There's a guy there that's it's a wooden dummy sitting on the bench, and people sit there and take pictures with him.
Right. Yeah. I'm not sure if she's named him yet, but he's holding his jug of moonshine, but he's smart. He's in the air conditioning.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Well, there was another dummy there when we were filming that people were taking pictures with, but I won't get into that because I don't want to talk about me. So you were a sheriff's deputy for a while. What was your opinion on cannabis at the time?
Well, it wasn't good. I didn't smoke it when I was a kid. I got the whole it's bad for you all the way through with my mom and dad. They're from Oklahoma, very conservative. That's the way I was raised. And I never smoked it, never used it or nothing. And of course, you never get the cannabis is good. It's okay. It'll help you with medical. And then you never get that on the sheriff's department. There is no, it's good cannabis. So when I got out and I had a friend of mine come and start talking to me about medical cannabis when I was the mayor, and I started doing my homework. And that's what really got the cannabis ball rolling in the city of Needles. I compare it to turning a carrier around in the ocean. It took me a long time, but I did a lot of studying. I talked to a lot of doctors, talked to a lot of patients, talked to a lot of law enforcement officers that were pro medical cannabis. When California voted to approve recreational cannabis, I voted against it. But when it came time to fix our ordinance in the city to allow it, because it did pass in the state, I looked at the voters in our community, and it was like 61% passed the cannabis, the recreational cannabis. So we approved it in our ordinance too and allowed it. So, I mean, that's what you do as a politician. You see what your constituents want, how they voted on an issue, and whether you're for it or not, you move it forward because that's what your constituents voted for.
Well, that's what you do when you're a leader. I think politicians sometimes just do what's politically expedient for them. But a leader says, I represent people. And it's not as if you're going to go around and take a poll every single time. Obviously, we have a representative democracy. So you can't just ask everybody what they want every time, of course. But it's nice that you said, I'm not sure about this, but the people seem to want it. And I think that's great. Credit to you. So when that was implemented and you saw what happened, what did you notice?
I noticed a lot more use. These are probably people that were using anyway, but they started using, which meant we actually got to count it and take tax from it. We put a 10% tax on, it's an excise tax on cannabis. So when they grow it, sell it, when they sell at a dispensary, we get 10%. We budgeted the first year $500,000 and we took in over $1 million. And so we've gotten a lot of our streets have been repaved. Our rec center has been refurbished. Our Jack Smith Park, we're working on it, which is our access to the local river, the Colorado River. We're doing a lot. We're trying to improve our citizens, our constituents' quality of life. I mean, that's what you do as an elected official in a small community. You try and improve your constituents' quality of life. And that's what we're able to do with this tax money we're getting finally.
I know a lot of small towns are hit with the scourge of opiate addiction, and obviously with that comes overdoses and deaths. Yeah. Before I get to my next question, did you experience that? I mean, I would imagine every town has it, right?
Oh, we've got it, but it wasn't like epidemic proportions. We didn't have like our kids falling over and stuff like that. It wasn't that bad. And then once we started this recreational cultivation, I had several people come to me and say that we could use our cannabis to help with the opioid addiction issue. So they've been use that also.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I guess in states that have approved cannabis use recreationally, medicinally, opiate use and overdoses have gone down. Have you seen that as well?
Yes. Yeah, because cannabis with the THC in it helps with the pain. So it's knocking the pain off. With the cancer people and that, it helps with the nausea, it makes them eat, helps them with the pain. So it's a good thing.
Well, that's why I'm here in the first place talking to you, and why I'm doing the show, The High Road. It's because I had cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and went through chemo and started using CBD for a couple of things. One, to help me sleep. And I found it amazing because, like you, I was not a cannabis user before that. But I don't know if you feel the same, but when I found out that I was lied to as a child and an adolescent and an adult, because it's up until recently, we were told it's this horrible thing and you're going to go crazy and commit all these crimes and you're going to be an addict and it's a gateway drug and all these things, which now have proven not to be. I'm not saying it's the greatest cure-all in the world or anything like that, but certainly we were lied to. How did you feel when you found out?
I was very disappointed. I was starting back with Harry Anslinger.
Sure, 1937.
With my FTO and then working with narcotics and everything. And yeah, I was disappointed, but I make sure we're still up to speed. I mean, because Needles was the first city in California that actually affirmatively permitted these to come in and allow cultivation and everything. And we just want to make sure that we're ahead of everything.
How small is Needles? How many people live there?
We're about 52 to 5,300 people.
That's it?
Yeah, and we don't have our census in this year. It's went up more because this cannabis industry has created 400 jobs. MIH Vertical, which is our biggest grower out here, is going to put 3 more buildings up, and they're going to need 500 more employees.
So what's the unemployment then in Needles?
2%.
Wow. Thanks to the cannabis industry, of course. Now, are there people who are pushing back, saying it's bad, it's against this, it's against my religion, we shouldn't do it, it's going to turn into a zombie land because it's this drug that's going to poison the minds of our youth, etc.?
No, actually, we haven't had a lot of pushback. When we were going through the ordinance to begin with, and we did all these conditional use permits, we've got 84 of them now that we've issued, and they've had to come in front of a planning commission and a city council, and there's been nobody speak against this issue.
Mayor, I'm so happy for your town and for you. Keep up the great job. I'll come visit you soon. We'll go to the wagon wheel and sit next to the wooden dummy, all of us on the bench, and have something to eat. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on helping bring that town back. It deserved it, and it's a great news story, and we need more of those.
Great. Thanks, Jack. I appreciate it.
And that's Mr. Mayor Jeff Williams, or as he says, Jeff. How sweet is that? Thank you for joining me. We're every Friday night, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Hopefully you'll join us again on The High Road.